Hello and welcome to the Network Identity Show. I'm your host, Dean Venderman, and this is for ECI 832. So the question posed to us this week was, how do we approach the concept of identity in a digital and network world? Well, I thought about it for a while and did a lot of research, and I came up with this graphic to basically explain what I think. I definitely think that it's all interconnected. Ourselves, our family and our peers, our employers, and others are definitely the different players in this that either create or manipulate our identity in some way, shape, or form. And some of the online things that we do are, we're using social media, we're using devices such as phones, we're on Google, and our digital footprint, or I think our digital tattoo, is out there. And also, I think through our e-portfolios and blogs, it says a lot about who we are for sure. So what I've done is I've created this wakelet to basically share with you what I think about digital identity. The first couple of things I put basically show, I did a look and a little self-reflection. I use Twitter a lot. What does that say about me? I have stuff on my blog and e-portfolio. What does that say about me? I did a reverse search of my name. What does that say about me? And I also took a look at my screen time for the last week and said, what does that say about me? How does that relate to my identity? I think with all four things, it shows that I'm very passionate about teaching. I share a lot of that and all of that. And, if anybody would go online or take a look at some things, I think they would find that my identity is really definitely tied to education and my passion for it. So when I kept doing the research for it, I found a couple of really good videos that basically talk about what a digital identity is, basically how it's a permanent record in this first video, and it talked about having a digital tattoo. This one was really interesting, although the voice was a little bit creepy. Talked about things like changing your passwords or thinking about purchases and that type of thing too, because there's such a big picture with identity for sure. This is the main article that I want to take a look at this week, and that I'll be sharing with you. And definitely, it's very solid. It's from ISTE, and it's a white paper on that, and it's about building and keeping a positive digital identity. So it talks about things like how it's only growing our digital presence, and now what can educators do to help that? What's going on with that with kids and even ourselves. So some of the essential questions are, what are you sharing, considering what you post, right? That's going to show a lot about your identity for sure. And they refer to Mike Ribble and his 4 points here, the step approach about stopping, thinking, empathizing, and then posting. So when you're on, you want to definitely think about things like, what are you sharing? How secure is it? Like, do you have strong passwords so people can't access and change your identity or try to do something with your identity? Who are you sharing it with, right? Know your basics, know what secondary users might be out there, checking out your work and what your identity is, maybe your passwords, or even a link to, things like your purchasing power and that type of thing. And what are you leaving behind? You got to assume that it's going to last forever. You can even go back to that Wayback Machine and find, videos and stuff from back in the 90s and stuff too, when the internet was just starting. Even clearing your cache so people can't see what your browsing history was. That's definitely a pro tip. And knowing the law, what are your rights? And there's a good information here on what FERPA is and COPPA is as well. So it does a lot of good ideas. And again, I think this is what I was trying to get to before. How do you model that? I think teachers need to have a strong digital presence and a strong digital identity and model that to their students. And I know I definitely try to do that too. You got to model, you got to discuss, you got to apply, and you got to share, right? There's definitely dangers that are real out there, but if you understand them, you can definitely plan towards them and then overcome them and do some pretty amazing things with that. I've added a lot of other resources in front of here that I wouldn't mind look, including a great video from Alec, and I definitely liked his personal examples from there. There's lots of cool things to find out on Twitter on this, including the Dolly Parton challenge, which was really interesting to me because, it was just showing how, you can have different identities on there, especially in social media. So I encourage you guys to check out this. There's some good lesson plans inside of here. Some really good resources. So I'd like to thank you guys all for watching this video. Hope it made you think a little bit. I hope you go explore an Wakelet and check things out. And that's it. That's my edition of Networked Identity. Thanks for watching my YouTube show. Until next time, stay classy, ECI 32 crew.